don't let it show. Oh, baby, I don't wanna know. Baby, touch you better than want to fall asleep. Oh, good to me, baby. Better off that way. More than I can say.
It's perfect. Diddy always ignores the song, don't he? Islam, you Moors. Islam. And we are here for 30 minutes more or less. So, if you're here, you're probably here because we're going to talk about polygyny tonight. Always a great and controversial subject, which is really interesting because in the age of 26 gender identities, polygyny is what's weird. Alright? So, I'm not going to keep you all too long because actually, I'm cooking. Actually, I'm going to set the clock right now. Give me just a second. Islam. Okay. So, yeah, Islam. So, tonight's subject is polygyny. Alright? And is it for the modern Moor? Alright? And I vote yes. I'm just going to come out with it right now. I vote yes. And I have set this up, Islam, you all, or scheduled this discussion for anybody who agrees or disagrees to share their, why. And I'll share with you why I think it's a good idea. All right? Islam to all. I'm going to try to read the comments. I'm going to do my best, but I'm here to discuss some stuff. All right? And actually, this discussion is an opener to Sacrifice Week. All right. If you don't know what Sacrifice Week is, I'm like this close to saying shame on you. Right. Sacrifice Week is when the Sisters Auxiliary of the Moorish Science Temple of America, we get together and we raise money for various temple programs. All right. And since it's going through the mothers, we're gonna make sure everybody gets fed. All right. So, this temple, I'm a part of Temple 27, Islam. Alright, Islam to the members who are in the room, and the sheik and sheikess who are also in the room. Gratitude to you all for joining. Alright, I'm not going to keep y'all this long, because, this thing gives you a time limit. Alright, deep breath. I have my notes because I respect your time. Alright, and I'm going to share my thoughts on the issue of polygyny based on my perspective, which is all I can do, right? My perspective might be a little different from the average Moor because I was raised Nation of Islam. So I actually saw it in practice, not only, Nation of Islam, so-called black Muslims, but when I went away to college, I'm like, well, I'm kind of used to and addicted to the whole, congregation thing. Let me join the mosque, the local mosque in my college. Same thing was going on. People were calling up their moms. These are people in college calling up their moms saying, what's for dinner? What you for like the holidays. Because so that way I could decide which mother I want to sit with on the holiday. All that stuff. They just making plans like that. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. You get to plan on 2 dinners, right? That's one of the benefits we're going to get into. All right. So first thing I want to do is define what I'm even talking about. All right. I specifically said polygyny because a Moor actually asked a good question. And she asked, do you mean polyandry, polygamy? Like, nope, no wiggle room, right? Moors really need to stop with the wiggle room stuff. We're too accommodating. So it's like, nope, stop it when it starts. Soon as you see it raising his head, just stop it. Nope, polygyny, all right? Specifically, marital contracts, hopefully, Allah willing, or situations where there's a single male and he is obligated, however way that culture does it, he's obligated to one or at least two females, 2 or more females, right? So, that's the definition I'm working with, so we know what I'm talking about. Feel free to join, be careful with what you say, and I'm only saying that because someone has been offering opinions about whether or not Prophet Noble Drew Ali advocated for plural marriage. All right. And you know how these people are. I've been in the movement for a year, so I can, I'm now qualified to undo 100 years worth of teachings. Go for it. You do that. So I wish you well. You won't succeed, but good luck. But anyway, I'm not getting into that. If you want to have a discussion on that, do it on your own platform. I'm here to talk about whether or not polygyny is a good fit for the modern Moor, right? Because I don't know if you all feel it, but there seems to be a quickening going on, right? Where I'm starting to hear more Moors speak about the importance of being part of a temple, right? And I was just speaking with the Grand Sheik and the Sheikess of Temple 27, Soul Temple 27, shout out. Please contact them if you do not have a physical temple to attend, all right? Because I support the idea of if you're going to be out here sharing information about being Moorish, right? You should give that information and then direct them to a temple so they can further their studies under the supervision of somebody sincere instead of, becoming a Google scholar. At least just say, hit up a temple. You could do that and keep it moving. Anyway. So, I'm trying, like I said, I think I've been seeing a quickening happening. And we were discussing it earlier today, the heads of the temple I attend, where we were again, expounding on the importance of being part of a temple. If you want to move as a Moorish American, you can do whatever you want as a Moor within and without the empire. The nation, right? That's written, all right? You can do that. But if you want to make real moves, you will have to join a temple. We've been pushing, numerous Moors I've been seeing, shout out to Stay Silent. We've been pushing that you can be a Moor all you want, but in order to be recognized as a Moorish American, you have to be part of a government that's already set up, right? You can start your own stuff, and then you can start where Noble Drew Ali left, where he started in 1913, and then left off for us to continue in 1928, right? You start where he started and see how far you get. Meanwhile, we're going to be moving with something that's already set up. So we compared it to, and I'm going to get back to the polygyny. I'm just touching on this real quick because it actually relates to the polygyny. We compared it to a Chinese person who was born inside of China who has no rights because they are not recognized by that government set up in China, right? Then I brought it up today. Let's compare it to a Chinese person born here. Your parents migrated from the mainland China, both of them, to California, right? Do you now, born in California, have the right to go back to China and demand you want to be treated like somebody that was born there? Yes, you do. Right after you fill out the paperwork and join their government. Why do you think it's different for us? But you do what you want to do, right? I'm seeing that quarters over pennies, that kind of thing. And I've been fortunate enough to find myself in the sphere of some very talented Moors, right? And it's not that many of us, but quarters over pennies, if you know that saying. I'm gonna make y'all think, all right? I'm not just gonna spoon feed you like some people, that kind of stuff. Not knocking it, because there's a place for it right now, all right? But back to polygyny, all right? So we gave you the definition. It's talking about the consorting, we'll use that term, right? The consorting between one male and two or more females of that same group or species or whatever, right? What examples do we have of it in nature, right? In nature, let's look at stallions. They got a pretty good reputation. How about bucks? They got a good reputation. Silverbacks, they got a pretty good reputation, right? They all practice polygyny, right? Where it is one male. There's other males in the group too, because we're all related somehow, some way, or you just wandered into the group. Or actually, males aren't allowed to wander into the group. Females are. But those females get together and decide, okay, we together, right? We're in Congress, and we together, based on our mutual needs, are going to pick one male to be a manager, a man in charge, right? I'm telling you this from my perspective. If you do not agree, that's fine. This is not your perspective. All right. And I'm trying to remain cordial because I feel some kind of way about this. All right. Because one of the people who's been having problems, and this is back to the nature part. One of the people I've been seeing having problems with polygyny, it's funny. I haven't heard from any sisters. And I invite y'all to please join if you have a problem with it, and I'm going to keep going, So it's been guys. Oh no, that don't sound right. And then I click on I'm about to be shady. I click on your profile and I see why you don't think polygyny is a good idea. Why was polygyny set up in the first place? Because it's obviously a violation of nature. If we look at nature, because, as man, even though we're supposed to be tending the garden, we're the most removed from nature. So that's why I refer to nature to see what does it look like when you don't have free will. Nature, right? Right? So let's look at all of them, right? Except, squirrels, they out there just doing whatever. Dolphins, they do drugs, so I don't know. And then you got all the other whatevers. But a lot of animals are either monogamous, if you think about it. They're either monogamous, polygynous, or the mother raises them alone. Just like in humanity, right? And within those groups, there's no wiggle room. That group all the species are only monogamous, like albatrosses. And what's that other one? The penguins that live in New Zealand, right? I homeschool, so I know weird stuff. All right. Anyway, trivia. Anyway, so who is that? Bonobos. Monogamy. That's I think it's the only monogamous primate. Bonobos. The only one. Just one. The rest of them are polygynous, right? And it's not the male who's in charge. It's the females who they form the groups. That's their group. Right? Let's look at lions. Are lions punks? I like lion society. I could get down with a lion society because you know how their society is set up? The male watches the children and keeps the other male lions from killing their children, right? And you have an interest because these are your children. We're going to go out and do some work. I can do that. I like that. That's my perspective. I like to work, right? And I will admit, I hate to say it, I think I've mentioned this before, I got to give it up to Andrew Tate. If you know who he is. Yes, he's a misogynist, but he said something that I can't get around because he was absolutely right. He said women are lazy, right? In order to get them to exploit the value that they don't see in themselves, but men know about, it kind of behooves them to have a male in charge, right? Some cultures call this pimping. Fine, if you want to do that, but if you have an interest in the children of these, you don't want to, you don't want to share these women. You're not trying to profit off them. You're trying to empire build. That's what I'm talking about over here. Not set up a stable like I'm dating you, and now I'm gonna ask this sister to join us, even though I haven't even obligated myself to you yet. That's setting up a stable, all right? Which is funny. This is the anniversary of another chat I did a year ago today. I completely forgot about it until today, where it's on YouTube. It's called Polygyny, How Brothers Blow It. Because you would be surprised how many women are down with it. Wait, I get to eat a home-cooked meal tonight and don't have to cook? And there's 2 women, so I actually got a choice of 2 dinners? Then the children. There's children everywhere, and all of them are calling you mom, whether you're their mother or not. I've been in those environments. I was jealous. All right. I'm not going to go too deep into that, but that's nature. Bonobos are the only polygynous primates. Please look it up. All right. Excuse me. So, okay. I went over how it differs from pimping. The benefits and detriments, the pluses and minuses. Pluses and minuses. It's about perspective, right? So, I'm trying to see the comments. Please excuse me if I don't see them. Because I'm trying to, retain my train of thought. I actually talked to a Moorish man. Did he say mom? For 2 years. A man for 2 years, and he didn't tell you what until after the fact. Please expound, all right? Yeah, brothers blow it, right? And like I said, there's an actual full story on YouTube from a year ago. I'll give you the short version, where's a Grand Sheik asks, how can the temple help you? I'm like, find me a husband because I'm tired of being out here by myself. He's like, fine, I'll take you. He was involved with somebody. I'm like, nope. You're not even you've been with her for 2 years and you haven't pulled the trigger, but you asking me to obligate myself to you. Nope. And me and that sister, I liked her better than him. All right, chick was like a pipe fitter, a female pipe fitter in LA from Louisiana. Yeah, she was like no end of interesting. And I'm like, oh, you got a man? That's nice. So what you doing today? You know, I was more, and then he, you know, kind of grabbed because I was helping him get his stuff in order. And if he had asked her, instead he came to me. That's where he blew it. It is up to the women. What did I just say about in nature? It's those women. It is always two males, some males, at least like with mammals most of the time, the herd animals especially. It's some males going over a group of females, right? Think of a stallion. He's not fighting that other stallion for one. It's all of them, right? And shout out to Big Head Scientist on YouTube. He actually has a video about the Pleiades, has the 7 stars that are inside of Taurus. And then he goes into the big star in Taurus. And the way he told it was, this big star is a planet where the males have to fight to the death until there's one left. And then that, you know, of that generation. And then that male gets to go to the Pleiades and build with, or breed with the 7 sisters to bring the population back. That's some interesting mythology we have. I'm just saying, it indicates something, right? So, did I get to the detriments? I can't think of none. You have to share your man, right? I don't know if you weren't in here when I started. I played a song by P. Diddy and whoever he was exploiting at the time. I don't want to know, right? If you playing me, keep it on the low. Like, wow, I'm telling you, that guy didn't write that song. That was written by a woman. I guarantee it, right? I don't want to know. I just want to say I'm in a relationship. So, you know, copyright, Califa Media 2021, polygyny. They're doing it anyway. They really are, right? It's really sad. Even like today, to this day, people who grew up with their fathers or whatever, and when they pass, they waiting to see who walks through the door. You know, to see, did he have a sick, you know you do it. You know there's people in your family that do that. When they waiting to see if that secret family is walking through the door. Right? Oh, my father passed and, you know, when I was old, whatever, almost 30. And I sure was looking. And everybody assured me, everybody in my family, like, no, it was just you and your sister. But I was looking like, yeah, that's what y'all say. Right? Anyway, but nobody showed up. So that means nothing because he went to Vietnam. So I'll leave that there. But he was a wonderful man. That's no shade to my father, but you know, I'm realistic, right? But anyway, so sharing your man. Chances are you are anyway, whether you know it or not. So you might as well mitigate. It's not a surrender. It's a recognition of nature, right? Stop trying to make a tiger into a vegetarian, please. Right? And then wondering what happened. Right? So what time is it? Good. We're at the halfway mark. So why was it outlawed by the Europeans? Right? Because every single culture practices, or at some time in some form practice polygyny. Every single one of them. Even if it was like, oh well, I have my wife and I have my concubine. That's polygyny because you're keeping her around and you're claiming her children and leaving them stuff. That's polygyny, right? That's every culture, of course, except for the throwbacks, the pale skinned Europeans who got to do everything backwards. In my observation, right? Where they were pushing polygyny on everybody. It was kind of smart how they did it too. Polygyny ensures you don't have no competition because the weak men are allowed to pollute the population. Simple as that, right? Why do you think brothers who got caught up in some simple stuff still getting 35 years? You were just in the back seat. Why did you get 35 years? You didn't touch nothing. You asked to get out the car. because they can't take the chance that you're smart, and you actually are, and you get out here and produce smart children. They leave the idiots out. Excuse me. If you look at the hood, it's obvious that they're leaving the idiots free to roam and pollute the population. All right. So I'm positing Moorish women specifically lean towards polygyny. All right. For some reasons. And I'm about to go into the reasons. What does it look like in practice? All right. In practice. And this is for the modern Moor. The way I saw it practiced was a sister would observe a brother she was interested in, right? And one of two things would happen. Either that man was also interested and saw her looking, and he would ask his wife, so what you think? Let's have a discussion. Let's talk. And then the wife would say, let me think. I'm going to go talk to that sister. And it will proceed from there. She gets an invitation. Or the sister is observing, like at the beginning, and she also observes that wife because she knows she got to live with that woman because he's married. But it's cool because both of you all have been raised in this environment, right? And you've seen the benefits and the detriments, and you put full thought into it, and either you're going to be open to it or not. So she approaches that sister who has not been, and that's it, who has not been allowed to approach somebody, the brother. Because what brothers fail to realize, or some of them fail to recognize, I guess some of them don't care, they just want to have multiple women. Do you have multiple homes? If not, you're going to have to let your wife, your wife, because why are you trying to be polygynous and you're not married one time? So your wife, prove that you deserve a wife by taking one in the first place, right? Start with one and then move on, right? So do you want to pick this woman and guarantee, because you didn't consult your wife, that it's going to be a miserable experience for all, including the children? All right. Just even if they might, soften up and get to know each other. But the offense, you just brought a woman into what I thought was our home and you didn't even consult me because you the man. Fine. Right. That usually turns out kind of bad. One of the women is usually driven off. I'll say that. Right. Or you can let your wife pick the woman, and you can guarantee that she is going to bring somebody in to make life easier for everybody that's already in the house. She's probably guaranteed done her homework, because women don't let anybody, that's our domain. The home, that's your castle, that's our domain. All right. We make it into a home, and we're going to be real careful about who we let into that space to keep it that comfortable space. And who benefits from that? Let's see. I brought some help into the home who wants to be here, and now I'm in a better mood and she's happy too. Who benefits from that? Okay. So how does it fit the modern Moor? Okay. This is, I'm just gonna say it's no different than the environment that the Prophet Muhammad was born into in the desert, right? He was born to a single mother. His father had passed before he was born, if I remember correctly, right? And because his father wasn't there, he was considered an orphan. How offensive. Your mom's right there and they're calling you an orphan. I always found that so offensive. Like, wow, and you all are rocking the star and crescent? Y'all not even in that equation except as a shadow, but anyway. So he was born into a bunch of environment with a bunch of single mothers and a bunch of men taking advantage of the situation because they were robbing the orphans. Like how women are left single mothers. They are left single mother. Nobody chooses to be a single mother unless they run away from some nutcase, right? So y'all can stop with that. Nobody chooses to be a single mother. I promise you, unless she got like nannies on board. No. So she can either choose to stay with that guy, or just like in the time of Muhammad, she can go back to her family and have them just always complaining about her being around. You should be off on your own by now. And now you brought a child back with you. That's why we married you off to get rid of you, blah, blah, blah. And then you have these men. Oh, like I said, it was like them robbing the orphans, because just like today, You have these women who are left single mothers, get on Section 8 and all the government benefits, and who's the first one knocking on their door asking for a place to stay? It's amazing to me. It's the same thing, just like in the days of Muhammad when they used to steal the orphans' inheritance, and he actually had to codify that in their religious book to stop them from doing it. This is kind of no different, right? So my thing is, I'm going to wrap this up. Oh, it's only 7:37. I'm advocating for polygyny in order to strengthen, add structure, give a stronger foundation to what we're trying to do as a nation, right? There is a serious lack of consequences with our people, right? All around the board, right? Consequences in everything. We are so quick to be like, never mind. It's not that big a deal. We need to stop that. Start holding people accountable, right? Polygyny. It weeds out the weak men. Monogamy was imposed so that the weak men could breed and ensure there would be nobody coming for my prince. Right? Think idiocracy. How would idiocracy benefit if that guy from now was the only one that was allowed to breed and raise those children as a father? I know it'd be a lot of inbreeding, but I'm just saying, just follow. You see what I mean, right? Either the men would die out, which is fine, or they would step up their game. All right? Strong nations are built by pushy, educated mothers. I know what I'm supposed to have, and if you want access to me, because as Andrew Tate said, and I might have skipped this part, female beauty is valuable, right? They exploit it. They just hope you don't know how valuable it is. I'm not saying use it to take advantage of people. I'm saying use it as a bargaining tool. This is what I present. Wait till I open my mouth, because I'm a pushy, educated mother, right? Oh, you don't make the grade. Nope. Hey, sisters, it's 5 of us and we're quality. Y'all want to get together, team up, and go pick us one good man to just keep the dummies away, right? And then watch how that changes the energy. And I kind of like the concept of keeping it at 4, even though the prophet said you can have as many as you want, right? I say keep it at 4 just because the husband and his 4 wives, right? Islam. So each one of you take a station, right? And shout out to the Chinese and their how they apply this. They have the empress. I've covered this before. They have the empress, and then they got the noble consorts. 4 of them. Well, they noble, virtuous, pure, and able, and they all represented those stations, right? And all they had to do was focus on being that one thing, rather than trying to be all those things, which you know is impossible, frustrating, and exhausting. All right. How about sharing that labor with some sisters who could use the help, right? And when it comes to those children, the children especially, just like in the days of Prophet Muhammad, right? How they were sending those children out to the desert to spend time with those men that were willing to spend time with them. Now those children come home with their father's blood, but whose brain? Whose legacy are they really carrying forward? Even though the law in Islam, and I'm referring to Islam a lot because it says, take unto yourself a wife as ordained by Allah. Ordained where? Excuse me, the first place I read it, and it's the longest chapter in the book, is in the Quran of Muhammad, not the Quran of Mecca. All right? So I'm like, okay, I can get down with this. I've seen it in practice, so why would I keep this good news to myself? Right? Am I missing anything? If y'all have any questions, put them up in there, because I'm about to bounce, because I think I gotta get the food out of the oven before it burns. I hope that explained everything. And if it didn't, everything I touched on today, and I'm gonna go back through it. So the definitions of polygyny, or the definition singular, examples in nature, examples throughout history, is like funny. Even though the pale-skinned Europeans were forbidding polygyny for their people, their rulers had official mistresses. Let's see. I'm gonna grab this food. I'm gonna read something to y'all real quick. Islam, give me a sec. Alright, Islam. So if y'all wonder why I'm never on here, I actually have a life. You know, I do a lot off screen, right? I do more off screen than on screen, obviously. So I'm gonna read something to y'all real quick if I can find it. It's a passage by Wilmot Blyton. It's an author from the 1900s who was talking about. I'm just gonna paraphrase it, and I'll put it in the description. What I'm paraphrasing. Basically, he said during his travels, right? He traveled through Europe and he also traveled through Africa, all right? And I'm gonna say maybe he was biased because this was a brother, right? And I think the book is called Africa as It Is, and he goes into polygyny, right? And he was talking about during his travels this throughout the 1900s, early 1900s, he came across, what was it? Man, I don't want to paraphrase this. Islam. I'm just going to look it up. Hold on. Because I know I saved it. I don't like paraphrasing like that. Oh, I know where I saved it. Hold on. Islam. Thank you for your patience. I'm almost done here. There we go. Okay. There it is. Okay. So it's called African Life and Customs by Edward Wilmot Blyton. Right? First published in 1908. Right? So he says there is a vulgar way of approaching the question of polygyny. There is a scientific way. And lastly, there is a spiritual way. It may appear strange to the average man that there is a spiritual side to polygyny. Yet on second thought, it must be so. In this, as in other matters, evil be to him who evil thinks. That is Edward Wilmot Blyton, not me. All right? So, under the African marriage system, such a state of things is utterly impossible to be unmarried, right? There are no women of the world, i.e. prostitutes, no slaves of the abyss, again, prostitutes, in his travels through Africa, but he found them all up in, it was like, you can see this one series, it's based on true events, called Harlots. I think it's on Hulu, where at the height of the British Empire, 1 in 5 of their women was engaged in prostitution, whether she was married or not. Meanwhile, in Africa, these girls are walking around, gathering each other like, okay, we've been best friends since we were 5 years old, and now we're marriageable age. Oh, you like me? You got to take my 4 friends too. Right? And that's how there was no prostitution where he was, right? He says, again, we are told by English periodicals that there are a little over 5 million unmarried women in Great Britain. This is in 1906, all right? And the number is increasing. It is stated also that the city of London alone, there are 80,000 professional outcasts, prostitutes. Professional outcast? I love that term. That's a t-shirt. Okay, we are quite sure that there are not so many unmarried women in the whole of Africa. Now remember, he said in London, right? In London, that's how many women there were he's talking about, right? Wait. Okay, so 5 million unmarried women in the island of Great Britain. That's an island. There are quite sure that's not so many unmarried women in the whole of Africa, between the Atlantic and the Red Sea, and from the Cape to the Mediterranean. Now, if polygyny has done nothing else, it has saved and is saving Africa from all of these evils. Is this nothing to be thankful for? We are not confronted by those frightful evils which in Europe and America are the despair of the guardians of public order and the reformers of public morals. And again, that is African Life and Customs by Edward Wilmot Blyton, first published 1908, and is available for free on Google Books. And with that, I think that's a good place to end. Thank you all so much for joining. I will try to upload this to what is that? What's that place? YouTube? Yeah, that tells you how much I use this stuff. I'm going to try to upload it to YouTube with all my notes and all that good stuff. All right. And with that, I got to go feed some people because yes, let's see, what do I do? I have 4 children, 3 still at home, run a business, run a charity, pray for the sick. So yeah, hopefully I'll see y'all soon. Peace, y'all.